Hi, District 32 constituents in Kern and Tulare Counties. My name is Holli Willibey, and of course, I'm running for Assembly Member 32. And I wanted to share with you some of my background to let you know how I'm going to put it to work for you. Okay, so way back in the early 1800s when I was born, and of course I'm kidding, but I'm pretty old at this point and I've done a lot of things. But back when I was starting out in any career, I interestingly enough chose the career of criminal justice. And so I did that for more than 15 years. And I did a whole bunch of things while I was doing that. So I worked in security for a number of years. I did plainclothes protection. I did hospital security. I did emergency response, not only training, but also preparedness. So I actually worked on an entire community triage project with the West Hills Hospital as part of their team, from the community. And we were working, this was after 9/11, so we were working on community response should we have an actual county or even tri-county response need. And I was offered the opportunity to be their spokesperson. So I've done just about everything, really. And I did actually a 2-year stint as basically a prison guard. So it was a law enforcement position, technically. I was not a cop. I was contracted to a federal location and worked basically as a prison guard. So I also was a bouncer. That one was a little crazy. So I have story after story after story from all of this. Once I decided to transition over to a career in teaching, because even at this time, while I was doing all of these things in criminal justice, I was offering my time for free, helping little kids learn how to read, because I absolutely love that. And I think it's one of the most important things we could do. But once I decided that I was going to transfer over and I was going to go into teaching as a career, I ended up teaching criminal justice at the college level. And then I went on to earn my master's in psychology and ended up teaching college level psychology. And it got really interesting when I was teaching out of 2 of our California community college districts. So at times I was running around maybe 6 or 7 different college locations in a single term. And I was organizing and managing all of those students and myself. So I can do a lot of work and I can organize a lot of things, if that makes sense. But I started to offer the opportunity for students to participate in after-class workshops. So I literally would teach for 3-hour lecture classes and then offer the opportunity for students to stay after. My class ended at 9:35 p.m. and sometimes a full half of the class or more would stay for additional free workshops. And you might say, why on earth? Like, you go for a 3-hour lecture class, wouldn't you be bored to death and want to leave? I had to kick these kids out at 11 o'clock at night because they were having so much fun doing this. And so what I've been able to do across all of this work in any and every field and in any and everything that I've done is find ways to maximize potential, make things interesting, and get results. So with that said, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I've done and what I've accomplished. There's so much more. I have a huge portfolio. And I'm not trying to brag here. I want you to know what you're getting yourself into if you basically seat me into this position. If you take the chance on me, for 2 years, I'm going to use everything I've ever learned and ever done to maximize the potential of this seat to do us the justice that we deserve of getting our country back, basically, one bill at a time, or maybe a bunch of bills at a time. So I'll tell you what I mean in a minute here. So way back when, again, 2001, I got a certificate of appreciation for my work out of the Children's Bureau of Southern California. And what I did was I volunteered my time and I created an entire reading program for a core group of 5 kids or so. It's between 5 and 7 kids a week. And these kids, even though they were at risk and they were considered, children that may or may not have advantages, if that makes sense. So that's the term at risk. They're disadvantaged, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't see things that way. I see how do we bridge this and give advantage to everybody. And so this core group of kids started to advance, and they advanced above grade level. And I did this only for about a year and a half. And one of my little girls ended up at age 9 tutoring a kid in her class, and the parent paid the little child to tutor the other kid. So I was doing the work for free, and the little girl was starting to make money doing this. And I was like, hey, where's my cut? And she was laughing. I was just kidding, of course. But the bottom line is when you see advantage and you see how to position things, you get results. So this I was doing even before I earned my first degree. And I was already successful in how I was organizing things. Now, I'm going to skip around a little bit because I don't want to make this video too long. It's already, my videos are like 12 minutes long each, and I really wanted to make them a little shorter. But when I was working out of College of the Canyons, I participated in their LEAP program. And so basically, I learned how to create initiatives for the college, and I worked on an actual initiative. It was a new business entrepreneurship kind of a program. And we had to work on this on a committee and a team, and we put the presentation together, did a pitch deck, actually pitched and presented this, and it was granted funding. So I know how to get in and do some of this work, and I participated in professional development because I love to learn. I love to teach, but if you understand how to teach well, you know that you learn so much more if you're teaching well than you even teach. And that includes if you're teaching children, because you're paying attention to detail and you're absorbing knowledge too. And the students challenge you if you let them. So anyways, I know how to do all of this stuff because I've participated in actual initiatives and actual committees and, all kinds of things over the years. And I know the inner workings of our system. And I also have identified some serious issues within the system. And I've come up with some ideas of how to plug some of those holes and help us move forward in an advantageous way, bringing the power back to the people, out of the hands of the people that are abusing their power positions where they should be able to be trusted but can't. So, what else? Let's see. So also, I am a published author, published learning and development theorist, and my theoretical model has been used by numerous students to actually improve their lives and to improve their mental health. So I'm not a psychologist. One of the reporters recently reported that I was a psychologist. I don't know why, because I never said that. I did say I had a 15+ year career in criminal justice, taught CJ at the college level, and taught college psychology. So I'm not sure how that was, translated into a psychologist. I'm not a psychologist. And in fact, the model that I designed is a learning model. So my students have been able to use it to kind of craft the changes they want in their own lives. And I'm telling you this, again, not to bore you and not to give you, the accolades of my career, blah, blah, blah. But you have to understand, if I'm able to do all of these things across all of these areas of life and study, what can I bring to this seat, to Assembly District 32? How will I get in and kind of attack the issues at the core? If you haven't seen it, take a look at my crime bill idea. Because when I look at something, I say, okay, if we're going to attack all of these issues and be effective, I could tell you, we're going to throw money at this, throw money at that, but that's been done and it hasn't worked. Because really, where's all of that money going? I could say, I'm running on this platform and that platform. That doesn't tell you anything. What I am going to tell you is I'm going to hit the root and address the criminality in our system and give the opportunity for the regular citizen to address that at a regular citizen level, to hold people accountable. And what you'll see, if and when this gets done, is across the board. It's not going to happen immediately, but across the board, you're going to see changes as people start to hold people accountable. And you're going to see that this is going to impact everything if people do the work of using the bills that I create and the laws that come out of that to their advantage. Now, again, I can't tell you every exact thing that I'm going to do. We're already into this video. It's longer than I had hoped for. But what I want you to understand is that I have the skill set to not only figure out what needs to happen, but to also organize regular citizens into committees to help me really take a deep look at what's going on and how to address a number of issues I haven't even considered, issues that maybe aren't affecting me directly, but need to be addressed in this district. So I invite all of you to participate in the learning process. If you vote me in, and again, spread the word, get my message up and down from Tulare County, my apologies again, all the way through Kern. And let's get me into this seat. And then let's organize. And if you have time and energy and you have the interest, participate in committees. And let's see how much we can get done together. I'm going to focus on this crime bill. I'm going to focus on taking out the heart of the problem. But I want everybody else to have a voice in this. So some people are saying, I'm too busy. Well, that's okay if you don't want to do it. But if you have something you're passionate about, why shouldn't your voice be heard? Why shouldn't you come in and say, hey, this has been a long-standing issue. These are the things that have been thrown at it and nothing's working. So let's sit down and figure out what might work, okay? Then we'll have these academic arguments, not regular arguments, academic arguments for fact-finding. And then we also, we also can come up with solutions that will attack those issues at the heart of the problem. So I give the example of this. If you want to really get rid of a problem, say for example, you're a gardener and you have a tree. So you're like, I want this tree to go away. So I'm just going to cut the top of the tree and really, really get it down into the base. And the tree comes up the following year with even more growth. You didn't hit the root of the problem. You have to cut out the root in order to be effective. And I know how to do this, and I've done it across the board in so many different areas. So I'm going to leave you with this. I also was a security director and fire safety director for a 680,000 square foot property way back in the day. Okay, again, getting a little long in the tooth here. But I took this property from about 3 to 4 incidents every single shift down to 0. Now, every once in a while, we'd have a medical emergency or something, but we did not have the issues that we had initially. And I revamped the entire emergency response system, and it was extremely successful. And I took this property that people said I wouldn't even be able to redesign in a full year, even if I gave it my all. I did it in 6 months. So when I tell you I know what I'm doing, I'm not kidding. When I tell you that I will work tirelessly to figure this out, you better believe I will. So you have a choice to make. Do you want to vote someone like me in, or do you want to stick with the status quo? Because I'm not endorsed by any of the powers that be because they don't want me in. They don't want me in because I have the skill set to take them on. And I've been working on investigating this for 5 years now and finding out where the heart of our problem is in Kern County. Now, Tulare County, again, I haven't looked at you as deeply because I live here and I just decided to run for this particular seat, which includes your area, about 2.5 weeks ago. So I'm all ears if you want to connect, etc. But you better believe that if you vote me in, I'm going to use everything I have ever learned to make sure our lives get better over time. And I'm going to employ you, not payment employed, but employ you in committees and give you a voice to speak to me and tell me what we need to do as far as you're concerned. That doesn't mean I'm going to do everything you want, okay? So please don't mistake that. I don't do favors for people. I only look at the reality of what's going on, and I evaluate it very well. And if you can show me what you think is going to work, and you have facts and information that confirm that you know what you're talking about, or you're working towards it and we get to that point. You're like, I don't know yet, but let's figure this out. I'm in. Okay. So let's get this whole county cleaned up in Kern, and let's find out what's going on in Tulare, and let's get that county cleaned up, and then let's move on to the state level. People have told me I'm exceedingly ambitious, and I said, yeah, so let's get this done.